What's up, guys? We bring you the latest in the world of sports. The name is Mikey Reyes.
We give you the conversations you want to hear from your favorite icons and athletes. I'm Doreen Soy Baguio, and in tonight's game plan, we'll break down the biggest X factors in the ongoing PBA Commissioner's Cup Finals between Barangay Ginebra and the Bay Area Dragons.
We'll also take a look back at the journey of the Ateneo Blue Eagles after reclaiming the gold in Season 85 of the UAAP Men's Basketball Tournament. Buckle up, sports fans. Let's get in the game.
Game 2 of the PBA Commissioner's Cup Finals is currently ongoing with a score now at 52-35 with Bay Area leading Ginebra at the halftime. And helping us break down the finals action tonight is, of course, my partner Mikey Reyes and basketball analyst Coach Sandy Ares-Bacochaga. Coach, welcome to the game.
I'm not so happy to see Coach Sandy today, but we will have to get through this show, Coach. It's nice to see you, Coach.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I'll say my congratulations later.
Okay. I'll also wait for your congratulations. No, thank you very much.
Mikey and Coach Sandy, looking at the score with Ginebra, with Bay Area up by 70. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, very interesting because especially when you talk about the final series, it's a game of adjustments. You can see how Bay Area adjusted for this game, and certainly they learned their lessons, and they look like a different team. It now depends on the halftime adjustments of Ginebra, what they can do to counter Bay Area.
And what do great teams do, Coach? They adjust quickly. Diba? Alam mo yan.
Right, and on that note, let's go to a list of players that you guys came up with as the top X factors to watch out for in this series. Let's start with you, Coach. You mentioned Japet Aguilar from Ginebra. He scored 6 points, 5 rebounds in Game 1 compared to his conference average of 9.1 points per game. Medyo mas mababa, no? What makes you say, Coach, that Japet is an X factor in a series like this?
A lot of people talked about Christian Standhardinger's defense on Nicholson, but we forget that the #1 help side defender in the league is Japet Aguilar.
Right.
And when you talk about Bay Area, you normally talk about their three-point shooting. But they're not just about their three-point shooting. You can close out on their three-point shooters, but what's next? They drive and kick. And if you've got the #1 help defender in Japet, controlling the paint, that would be key for Ginebra. And Game 1, Ginebra had more inside points. That's very important in this series.
And it also gives a lot of confidence for the smaller guys to be able to pressure and not be worried about getting beat.
Yes,
diba?
exactly.
And also, Coach, with Bay Area, this whole conference, I think their length has been a weapon of theirs, in which obviously Japet Aguilar has that length to match up against the Bay Area Dragons.
Right, that is for Japet Aguilar. Next up, we have the high-flying Jamie Malonzo, who scored 3 points, which is kind of a far cry from his conference average of 13.1 points per game. Coach, what does Ginebra need from Jamie in this series?
I think Mikey touched on it a little bit, the length of Jamie Malonzo. He's not just about points. He's a very good defender. He's a very good rebounder, especially on the offensive end. He's a very good open court player. And like Mikey said, the length of Jamie Malonzo, especially on the defensive end, is very key for Ginebra.
Well, let's talk a little bit more about Jamie because I know medyo na kulangan ka sa tulog nung si Jamie nasa Lasal pa. So I just want to ask, what's the difference between the Jamie of Lasal, in which he was tasked to really score and be that go-to guy? Also in Northport, parang ganon, but here with Ginebra, he has been that, that role player that can really maximize his potential.
Yes, and the key here is what you mentioned, being a role player, because we also have to look at Jamie Malonzo as bilang a Gilas prospect. And the World Cup's just around the corner. So you get a glimpse of the kind of player and the kind of things that Jamie Malonzo can bring to a team. Defense, hustle, if you give him an open shot, he can knock it down, but he's not the kind of player that you need 15 shots to get going.
That's very true.
Coach, last from the Gin Kings, we have Christian Standhardinger. He scored 16 points in Game 1, which is above average. He had 10.7 points per game before the finals. Would you say, Coach, is he the main reason Ginebra won Game 1?
Well, a lot has been said about his physical defense on Nicholson, and let's not forget that the other time that Ginebra faced Bay Area in the elimination round, Nicholson only had 28 also. So that's below his averages. So that's twice that Christian Standhardinger has limited Nicholson to below his averages. But he's also the type of player that, hardworking. He doesn't need plays to be called, yet he's got 16 points, mainly on what? Offensive rebounds, on those putbacks, drop passes. And he's the kind of player that fits the mold of a really, a fan favorite na talagang depensa lang, hustle player who'll do all the dirty work.
That's very true. And si Christian Standhardinger also, sabi nga ni Nicholson, kailangan niya matuto mag-rugby kung gusto niyang masyutan at maskoran si Standhardinger.
Right, that's it for Ginebra. Punta naman tayo sa Bay Area. Let's start with Zhu Songwei. He had 12 points, 5 assists in Game 1, which is near lang his conference average of 11.8. He performed above average in Game 1. How crucial is Zhu Songwei, Coach, in Bay Area's title pursuit?
I think it's very important because if you look at all the other players of Bay Area, they fit a certain mold, like outside shooters, But what he brings to Bay Area is something different. He's tall, he's mobile, he can drive, handle the ball. So he gives a lot of different problems to Ginebra. He's not just an outside player. He can roll. He's good in rolling or cutting to the basket on his drives. And he's a very good defender. One of the reasons why, he got into foul trouble Game 1. And I think Game 2 now, it's with him not being foul trouble, it's a different ball game all of a sudden.
And that's the versatility of a Zhu Songwei. Now let's move on to their backcourt. We like this, with Bay Area, we like this backcourt duo between Glenn Yang and also Kobe Lamb, the youth and also yung pagkapeterano ni Glenn Yang. What do you see in that backcourt duo na tatapat kina LA Tenorio?
You mentioned it, a very good mix of youth and experience. And I think also, talk about experience. I think this is the first time that they've experienced a Game 1, a finals here in the PBA. Now we could see na medyo naka-adjust na sila in Game 2. And it's very interesting moving forward to see this backcourt facing up against LA Tenorio and Scottie Thompson. This I really want to watch.
And that's it for Mikey and Coach Sandy's list of top X factors to watch out for in this series. And if you guys want to know how these players are faring in Game 2, don't forget to catch Game 2 of the PBA Commissioner's Cup Finals happening right at this very moment on One Sports, TV5, PBA Rush, and Signal HD. After the break, we'll look at the Ateneo Blue Eagles' journey back to the top of the podium in the UAAP men's basketball. Stay tuned, you're watching The Game. into the game. It was redemption time for the Ateneo Blue Eagles as they are now back on top of the UAAP men's basketball tournament. But like any other championship, of course, credit must be given to the incredible masterminds that made that gold medal run possible. And still with us to talk about the mentorship behind the championship is Ateneo coach Sandy Arespa-Cochaga.
Coach Sandy, my first question is bakit naman? Ba't naman ganon? Ilang buwan mo lang pinahiram sa amin yung championship,
Oo nga,
Coach?
coach. Sana pa hinabaan ng konti.
Hinabaan mo
coach.
naman ng konti. Pero Coach Sandy, I just wanted to ask, what was the main difference between the team, or at least the atmosphere of training games between the parang expected to win the chip and this year na underdogs kayo? Technically, you did say underdogs kayo. Although I can't agree kasi first place pa rin sila. But what was the main difference between the atmospheres of trainings and sa nitong season na to?
Yeah, first of all, ganito pala pakiramdam ni Ange Comin na nado-double team ng dalawang taga-UP. Kaya pa...
Buti hindi kasi lang ni Galinata to.
Oo nga. But equally intimidating. But, you know, I think there was a big difference because headed to this season, we were coming off a loss. And malaking bagay kasi, you know, in order to move forward, sometimes you have to learn from the lessons of the past. And in our case, not so distant past yun. Even though it was painful, to tell the truth, even now, if I try to look back, the pain's still there. So it was definitely hard, but you could say that there was extra motivation, I guess, for us in that regard.
Learning from mistakes from the past, sila, ilang buwan lang, tayo 36 years.
36 years, inantay namin, coach. Coach, nagtataka ako, balik tayo konti sa season 84. People always talk about the dugout atmosphere of the UP Fighting Maroons after season 84. Pero ano yung atmosphere sa dugout nyo after that Game 3 loss back in season 84?
I would think similar to the dugout of what you know, any losing team, especially, you know, teams that, you know, really, the players that really gave it their best, gave it their all. Painful, painful. A lot of crying, and that's part of it. That's part of sports. That's part of life. You know, and it was tough. It was tough. But you know, I would say the same thing about the UP dugout. I would guess. So, in a way, the people that would know and understand what you're feeling is us. Kasi we also felt that just a couple of months ago. I think, ironically, yung magkapit-bahay, parehas na naramdaman ng both high and low. So I cannot gloat that much because I understand, you know, the pain also, how it is, you know, losing. You know, ganun talaga in sports. That's part of it.
And I don't want to ask too much about the technicalities and yung mga adjustments niyo in the game, but I want to talk about the crowd because I think in season 84, that was the biggest mismatch sa Ateneo. No disrespect to the Ateneo fans, but let's face it, iba yung crowd ng UP noon.
Yeah.
And even Coach Tab said it, we need that, you know, the blue ones in attendance again this season. What was that like to finally play in front of a big Ateneo crowd like that? I think the biggest in so long.
Yeah, you know, sometimes, you know, talagang big challenges or big opponents bring out the best in us. So that also, I think, that also motivated our crowd. Na, you know, UP's fans, you know, the attendance of the UP faithful has been terrific the past few years. There's no denying that. And for us, kahit na hindi matapatan 1:1, as long as we feel and hear our crowd, malaking bagay yun for us. Lumaban in that aspect. So we're really thankful for the Ateneo community who, you know, watched and supported. We really felt their cheers.
Coach, it wasn't just the Ateneo community that showed up for the team. It was also the Ateneo alumni. Can you tell us more about the culture of the team kung saan bumabalik talaga yung mga alumni to support the team?
Ano ba talaga ibig sabihin ng bebop?
Oo nga.
Doon tayo mag-start. Is it, private ba yun? Ano ba ibig sabihin?
Hindi naman. I think it's just putting a...
No, what does it mean? Acronym. May secret nga. Secret. Okay, go ahead.
Blue Eagle band of brothers. So, I think it's just... it was used to describe the culture that we have, yung pakikisama, the brotherhood that we have. Konting trivia lang. Actually, before, nung first finals din namin under Coach Tab against LaSalle, the former players then of the 5P era, led by Coach Norman. Coach Norman was also there, visited us, and also talked to us. So that gave us a lift. Itong recently, these guys, sila Mike, Matt, Anton, they just organized, and siguro, they felt they needed to do something, and it was a big boost to us because what they told, all of them spoke, and what they told the players is what we just told our players dun sa meeting beforehand. So parang scripted pa.
Lang.
Oh, but you're saying, we didn't talk, but the message, kumbaga, the message came across not just from us but from all around, and iba yung boost na naramdaman ng players namin, that we had these players who were really behind the team, and parang kahit sila lang okay na, kahit na okay na, lalaban na tayo with these guys.
Well, the seniors, sina BJ, Dave, and Ange are now part of that group, yung mga alumni.
Yeah.
So, what was that like for them? What did you see from them that they really wanted, especially Game 3? And the future, what is it looking like? Saan nyo ba nakakuha yung Kitevis na yon? Kasi hindi namin na-expect
He
yun,
suddenly
coach.
appeared.
Surprise player kayo eh.
Yeah, well, it was really a big boost, especially seeing Tyler, Tio, and Gian Mamuyak also, visiting. Kasi yung words nila resonated with the team. Especially, they were just teammates lang ng players namin a couple of months ago. And medyo, nadagdagan pa na. We were fighting also for these guys na parang they graduated without the championship. So parang it was an extra motivation on our end na, to help these, parang win this one also for them. So that was a big boost. And you could see it from our leaders, Ange, BJ, Dave, and also Jacob Lau.
Coach, last question. You're one of the longest tenured coaches in the UAAP, and you've witnessed a lot of generations of Ateneo players. How do you think the program, the team, has evolved throughout the years?
Yeah, I started coaching kasi when I was 12. So, kaya...
Huwag na natin sabihin yung taon kung kailan siya nag-coach.
But, the game has changed. Definitely, the game has changed. Iba na yung game of basketball. But I think some of the basic fundamentals still remain the same. And not just about fundamentals na skills or talent, but, teamwork, brotherhood.
Yeah.
Right? And that's not just exclusive to Ateneo. Mike, you can attest to this in whatever team. Iba yung may pinagsamahan kayo sa practices. Iba yung bond talaga ng magkakampi. Iba yung experience. You go through battle, you go through highs, you go through lows, victories and defeats. You suffer that together, you enjoy that together. Iba eh. That has remained constant all throughout these years.
Those are the words from Coach Sandy. And we will say this one time lang. Congratulations, Coach Sandy. And thank you for your time. Thank you for visiting us dito sa The Game. After the break, we'll bring you an inspiring interview with Basketball Hall of Famer and 5-time NBA champion Irvin Magic Johnson in a special edition of Boundless with PLDT's Kathy Yang. Stay tuned. You're watching The Game.
see you, Magic. Appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule in LA. I mean, your legions of fans from the Philippines are so delighted to see you.
Well, thank you, Kathy. I'm happy to be here. And as you know, I've been to the Philippines, love my trip there as well. So I'm happy.
Yeah, you know, fellow Filipinos are the greatest fans of basketball. I mean, you've probably seen them yourself when you traveled back here back in 1995. If you remember, you visited Manila back then, helping government raise AIDS awareness. And it came with a charity game with ex-Lakers Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. What do you remember of that visit to Manila?
Well, we had a great time with all the citizens there, especially the kids. The kids were wonderful. And also I remember, doing some basketball clinics and working with the kids. And then last but not least, the game was incredible. I didn't know you had so many great basketball players who could really shoot the 3-point shot.
It's been, 32 years since you broke the news that you've contracted HIV. That was back in November 7, 1991.
Right.
Since then, you've been in a mission to educate everybody that HIV is not a death sentence. Now, how far do you think you've come in making the world understand and remove the stigma surrounding the virus?
It's been an amazing journey when you think about it, 31 years. And then the stigma was big time back then, right? And also it was a death sentence at the same time. So the drugs have gotten better because at the time that I announced, then it was only one drug. Now you have over 40 drugs. The cocktail has done a wonderful job with me. That's why I've been here over 31 years. Also, we stopped the discrimination against people who were living with HIV and AIDS. And so I think we've been able to do a lot, especially when I first announced, it really hit the Black and brown community here in America big time. And so we were able to really bring those numbers down and make sure that we educated people and gave them the right information.
You mentioned that accountability really is the missing major ingredient in every successful team. So how important is accountability in the corporate setting as you draw the parallels of engagement between sports and business?
I believe it doesn't matter whether it's sports or business. Accountability, and more accountability, right? So when you think about sports, right, not only are you accountable to the coach, there's accountability among the players too. They depend on you. They're counting on you. So I know with the Lakers, I used to hold everybody accountable as my teammates, and I wanted them to hold me accountable, and they did. The same thing in business, right? I'm the CEO of my company. So my job is to hold everybody accountable on what they're supposed to do, their job. And then within the four walls, I want them to hold each other accountable because it's important, because everybody must pull their weight. Everybody must be experts at their jobs. And hopefully then we talk about over-delivering to the customer and the clients that we deal with on a daily basis. So accountability is huge. And when I think about it, we're only successful because of that accountability. And so I preach that everywhere, all the time. I tell young people all the time, you're going to be held accountable, whether that's at your school, whether that's at home with your parents, whether that's with your friends. You have to be a man or a woman of your word. So when you tell somebody you're going to do something, then do it. I tell my kids that. I tell my grandkids that.
Magic, in closing, as our DigiCon Summit this year is themed around boundless, and purple is indeed the color. I think I've got some yellow in what comes to mind when you hear that word, boundless?
Oh, my life is boundless. And when I think about my journey, that's the word I would use. Wow. I did everything that was not supposed to be done, right? I befriended the owner. No player in history had ever done that. And that was a no-no. You're not supposed to be the friend of the owner. And I said, I don't care about unwritten rules. That man is smart. He a billionaire. I want to be like him. I'm going to have him be my mentor. I'm going to go to lunch with him. And look what happened. He became like a father figure to me. And if I didn't take that approach, see, that was unconventional and different, I wouldn't be sitting here. I wouldn't own all these teams and these businesses and do the things that I do today. And so when I think about Boundless, that's Magic Johnson. I've changed so many industries, and I was the first to go through a lot of doors, a man of color, right? And so trust me, you can do it. And I'm gonna hang that word up on my door, boundless. That's the magic way, boundless. So everybody out there, remember, you can do it. You can have it. You can go get it. You know, it's all up to you. It's all up to you. If you think you don't belong, you won't belong. If you think you do belong, you'll be there. And so I never thought, and even today, I never think I don't belong in a room. That's boundless. You know, I can sit down with anybody and hold my own.
That was Basketball Hall of Famer Irvin Magic Johnson alongside First VP and Group Head for Corporate Communications for PLDT and Smart, Cappy Yang. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Doreen Soy Baguio.
The name is Mike Curious. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. Peace and love. This has been The Game.